Everybody, my name is Coach Eric Brozer. We are here at the Dragon's Lair in Las Vegas, one of my favorite gyms on the planet. And I want to introduce you guys to my new show on Muscle and Fitness Plus called Brozer Built. And I'm very excited to have this show partnered with Muscle and Fitness. And I've been in this industry for over 30 years, but I don't expect everybody to know me, so I'm going to give a little introduction about myself here today. So I just want to let you know that I was into bodybuilding from age 16, 17. I started bodybuilding very, very seriously at that point. I actually started competing around age 20. I won my Natural Pro card back in the early 90s, which means I'm very, very old. And I continued competing for many years up until about 2011 was my last show, which was the NPC Ironman at the LA Convention Center, which I won. And then after that, I kind of retired, although I am thinking about coming out of retirement. During this period of time, I was also a personal trainer. I had a personal training business in New York. Then I brought that out to Florida and California, different places. And I also had a gym in New York for about 5 years called Body Effects, where I did a lot of my personal training as well. I also started writing for magazines back in around 2002. The first magazine I wrote for was Muscle Mag International, but after that, I had columns and featured articles in magazines such as Iron Man, Planet Muscle, Muscular Development, and Flex Magazine, and several others. I also authored 4 books and co-authored 2 of them on physique transformation and training programs. And I have developed several unique training programs during my career, such as PRS, FDFS, ESPX2, SPEC, and several others as well, which are being used by people all over the world. As well, I've worked for a bunch of different supplement companies, consulting with them, writing for them, such as ALRI, VPX, EFX, Gaspari, and several others. Now I'm actually starting my own supplement company, Spellbound, which I'll talk more about here in future episodes as well. I also have had a program on Jay Cutler TV for about 5 years, which I'm very, very proud of. And I'm out here in Las Vegas now, and what I do mainly at this point is I coach athletes, bodybuilders, male and female at all levels, people in the entertainment industry. I do a lot of that stuff online. I do a lot of the work also here in the gym, and I'm very, very proud to have this show with Muscle and Fitness Plus. I'm very glad that they asked me to do this. So let's go inside and get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the journey. Everybody, this is Coach Eric Brozer again, and like I said, I'm here at the Dragon's Lair, and I want to let you know what we're going to do on today's show. So what we're going to do is something that I call don'ts and do's, and you're going to see this segment on my show pretty regularly because as a coach, I am a stickler for proper form, and I have seen throughout the years a lot of people in gyms doing certain basic movements with incorrect form, and it makes me crazy. And I want to make sure that everybody out there is using proper form so they're going to get the most out of the training program, the most out of the individual exercises. So I have my guest here. This is Kim Bridges, she's a national level wellness competitor, and she's also been my student for about 4 or 5 years now. She knows proper form because otherwise, if she doesn't, I'm going to yell at her. So she's the perfect person to show you this. So I'm going to pick a few different exercises today, basic movements that I said, that I see people making mistakes on all the time. I'm going to have her show you a few of the common errors that I see, and then I'm going to have her show you proper forms to optimize muscle fiber activation, and you get the most out of every exercise when you're in the gym. Okay, so the first exercise that I'm going to have Kim demonstrate is the side laterals. I'm going to have her demonstrate 3 ways that I see people doing it wrong, and then of course we're going to finish off with the proper form so you get the most out of the exercise, okay? So the first thing that she's going to do is she's going to actually start swinging her body. Now when you swing the body, obviously you're using a lot of momentum, which takes away the pressure on the side deltoids, and you want to use a more strict form, which she'll show you later. So you see she's swinging her body, which is improper form. The second thing that she's going to do to show the wrong way to do it is bending the arms a little bit too much so that the dumbbells are coming out a little bit in front of the body. And when they come out in front of the body like that, you start to activate a little bit more of the anterior delts with the side delts, and we want to isolate the side delts as much as possible. So again, this is mistake number 2. The third mistake that I see people make is they rotate the hands back at the top. Now when you rotate your hands back at the top, again, you're taking the isolation off those lateral delts. You're bringing a little bit more anterior delts into play. And again, you're not optimizing the motion. So now I'm going to have her show you proper form. As you can see, she has her hands starting at her sides. She's keeping the arms relatively straight, very, very slight bend in the elbow. The dumbbells are coming straight out to the sides, not twisting the wrist at all, not swinging, using a full range of motion. And by doing it this way, even though you may have to go a little bit lighter than you used to, you're going to get a more direct hit on the lateral delts. You're going to activate more fibers, and therefore that's going to translate into more muscle growth. Okay, so the second move I want to show you guys that people do wrong all the time is a wide grip lat pull down. I'm going to have Kim again show you 3 different ways that people I see do it incorrectly very commonly, and of course we'll finish with the proper form so again you get the most out of your lat workouts. Okay, so she's setting up here, wide grip. Here's the first mistake that I see a lot of people make. This is very often beginners. As you can see, she's pulling the bar down all the way in front of her body. She's not coming anywhere close to her torso. And this is not optimally activating the lats or the mid-back. And this is also going to actually possibly hurt the shoulders, could hurt the forearms, and you start to even engage a little triceps, because sometimes I see people actually push it down into a tricep push down. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake is that people often will swing backwards. They'll use momentum, trying to use more weight than they need to be using. They're swinging backwards. And again, this is not going to give you optimal fiber activation because you're taking away from the movement and muscle tension by swinging backwards. The third mistake that I see people make is they shorten the reps a little too much. You always want to use full range of motion. In any movement where you can get a really, really good stretch, you want to make sure to utilize that stretch, because the stretch under tension will actually cause fiber damage. That fiber damage has to be fixed, and that causes muscle growth. So again, you don't want to do these short reps. Now I'm going to have you show you proper form. So as you can see, first she's using full range of motion. She's getting a stretch all the way to the top. The second thing she is not doing is bringing the weight in front of her. Rather, she's bringing the weight up towards about the mid-chest level. She's just slightly contacting the mid-chest and getting contraction. And also, third, as you can see, she's not leaning back. She's just arching her lower back. She's squeezing the shoulder blades together. And this is going to give you an optimal stretch and an optimal contraction so that you make sure you're getting the most out of your lat training. Okay, so the third and final exercise I want to show you guys today is what people do wrong with the one-on dumbbell row, which I think is a movement that gets butchered in gyms across the world. So I'm going to, again, have her show 3 ways that I often see people do this exercise wrong, and then, of course, finish with the proper form, because, again, I want you guys to get the most out of every single workout and every rep of every set. Okay, so the first thing that she's going to do is she's going to actually be lifting up, straight up. As you can see, she's lifting the dumbbell straight up, which is not a terrible thing to do, but it's not optimal. By lifting straight up, she's actually activating a lot more rear delt than she needs to. And in this movement, you actually want to have a different path to better activate the lat. So this is the first mistake, although a subtle one. The second mistake that I see people making is rotating the torso at the top. Now what this does, of course, is it has her bring the elbow up way too high, which starts to engage the mid-traps, which you really don't want to do. Again, the rear delts as well. And by doing this, she's probably going to be using momentum. This is what happens when people try to use too much weight and they're throwing it up at the top, and this causes their body to rotate as they bring the weight to the final position. The third mistake, again, is range of motion. This is another movement where you can get a full stretch on the lat, and you want to get that full stretch. That full stretch contributes a lot to muscle growth. And by doing a short rep like she's doing here, she's not getting the optimal effect from the exercise. So now I'm going to have her show you the proper way to do the movement. Full range of motion. She's getting a full stretch at the bottom. She's not rotating the torso. The torso is staying in place. And she's trying to pull the dumbbell back a little bit towards the hip. It's a very subtle movement when you bring it back towards the hip, rather than straight up. But as she's doing it, she's optimally activating the lats, which is what you want to hit in this movement, keeping some of the rear delts out of it, getting a full stretch for fiber damage, and that is the proper way to do a one-arm dumbbell row. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that don'ts and do's segment. I'm hoping that it'll really help you guys with your training, because like a lot of people out there, they think they're doing exercises correctly, they're not doing them correctly. Sometimes it's just a very, very subtle mistake that people are making. And of course, when I have people with me in the gym, I'm able to correct those mistakes right in front of me. But through video, I think this is an effective way to show you guys the optimal way to work exercises. So, like I said, the main thing when you come to the gym is I don't want you to waste your time. I want you guys to get the most out of every rep of every set so that you guys can progress as fast as possible. And that's what this show is going to be about. It's going to be about rapid physique transformation. That's what I've been basically dealing with for the last 30 years. I've been trying to teach people how to get the most out of the training, the most out of the diet, supplementation, so they can make the optimal progress in the shortest period of time. And you cannot forget proper exercise technique when it comes to progress in the gym, because if you're doing an exercise wrong and you're only getting 25% out of it or 50% out of it, then you're wasting time and you're causing your opportunity to get to where you want to get to be pushed much further off. So make sure to always use proper technique. And again, I hope these tips helped you, and I'll be bringing a lot more to you in the future. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Please keep watching.